Hey, my name is Yasmina and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I thought I will do a dual review of two of my new favorite books that I've read so far this year. So I wanted to talk to you more about them so that maybe you will pick these up for yourself and like them. So without further ado, let's get into the spoiler-free book reviews. First up, probably my favorite book that I've read so far this year. And if you've watched my The Best and Worst Books I've Read So Far This Year video, which I will link up here in the description, you will have heard me talk about these books briefly, but in this video I want to go a little more in depth. The first one is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, a book I pre-ordered 2 years ago when it came out and has been patiently stewing, festering, and waiting for me to pick it up all this time, knowing that I will regret it the moment I do. And yes, book, you were right, because boy, do I regret not picking this book up sooner, because I love this. This was perfect. This was perfect. This is a YA sci-fi series by Brandon Sanderson. He's mostly a fantasy author, in case you're not aware, but he does dabble in sci-fi here and there. Let me tell you a little bit about the plot of this series and kind of the setup for the world. So this story takes place on a different planet. The last sort of humans have fled Earth and landed on this new planet and have then sort of created or began a new civilization. But the new civilization is not alone up there, because there is this alien race called the Krell. And the Krell really don't like this new human civilization, and they often attack them. And the humans are not really sure why. However, the humans are sort of protected on this planet by this layer in orbit of debris, and that kind of gives them a barrier from the Krell attacks. However, the Krell specifically look for gaps in the debris, and whenever there is a gap in the debris, that's when they attack. And they attack with spaceships as well. And the humans also fight them with spaceships. So it's a big old spaceship fight. But the main character is called Spensa, and she is a 16-year-old girl. And Spensa's father was an infamous pilot who piloted one of these spaceships into war with the Krell. And unfortunately, he is said to have fled the battle and died and basically betrayed his troop, and is labeled a coward and a traitor. And therefore, his daughter, Spensa, is also labeled the daughter of a coward. Problem is that Spensa's biggest dream is to become a spaceship pilot just like her father. But of course, because of these prejudices that people have towards her, she has hurdle after hurdle of getting into a academy where she can train to become a pilot, and just generally in life she is not treated very well because of who her father was. But Spensa knows deep down that these people have to be wrong, because her father was a really, really great man and he was, her role model. So why are these people saying that he was such a bad person? And yeah, we basically follow Spensa as she fights all of these prejudices and all of the walls that come in front of her to become a spaceship pilot like her father. And she basically is trying to prove everyone wrong, that her father is not the man that they say he was. I loved Spensa, honestly. She's a fantastic main character. I love how feisty she was, but she was also really funny, and I also really, really believed her motivation. I really love the way she handles everything. I think it's done really, really well. There's also amazing side characters in this story. Honestly, all of the side characters are fantastic, but I think definitely a gem in this is a character called Mbot, who is a spaceship. Yes, amazing. Most of the humor in this book comes from this character. Another thing that I found really funny is that Sanderson is not afraid to dispose of his characters, which is interesting. He has definitely taken a George R. Martin route in this book, at least. There is a lot of action in this book. There's a lot of space fighting action, really, really good. Mbot's obsession with mushrooms. Oh my god, that is just an amazing little, my voice just broke. That's an amazing little level of characterization that threads through the entire book, and it's so good. Oh, there is no romance. There is no romance arc. For those of you who are not a big fan of romance subplots in YA, nothing to worry about. There is no such thing, at least not in the first book. So that's definitely a plus in my book, honestly, and I think in a lot of people's as well, because it's just refreshing, honestly, to see a book that does not have a romance subplot. So, and the scope of this world, like, you think you know everything, but the true scope of this world is actually revealed towards the end. And oh boy, does it set up for a fantastic series altogether. I am so excited to see where this goes. I also have the second book here already. This is called Starsight, and the third book, which is called Cytonic, also comes out at the end of this year. So actually, even though I waited 2 years, it's actually a pretty good time to read the series right now, because then you can read the first 3 books, but it will not be a trilogy. I think it will be more, at least 4 books. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, really, really good. Check it out. The other book that I wanted to talk to you guys about in this video is the other favorite book that I've read recently, and that is Kings of the Wyld by Nicholas Eames. This was also so amazing. Oh my gosh, this was so much fun. This is epic fantasy that does not take itself too seriously. This is the most ridiculous Dungeons and Dragons campaign ever written and then somehow transformed into a book. This author has thrown every trope, every fantasy trope known to humankind into this book, and yet somehow it works. I don't know how, but it does, and it was fantastic. This is a road trip quest book. So let me tell you a little more about it. This kind of whole world is influenced by rock culture in the 70s, so like rock band culture in the 70s in our real world. In Kings of the Wyld, a band is essentially a group of mercenaries who are famous and who go on tours, and they basically solve like quests, think sort of the Witcher type thing, you know, go to this village, kill this dragon that's been tormenting the villagers. Our main character is called Clay Cooper, and he was once a part of a very, very famous band called Saga. But this is now years later when the story takes place, and Saga has now disbanded and every member has gone their separate ways. But at the beginning of the book, Clay Cooper wants to get the band back together, okay? And so he goes hunting for the rest of his former members and trying to hurdle them all together to go on another task, basically, on another quest. And so we followed this band as they go through this adventure, and this is like there's so much that happens. I can't say more than that, because there's so much that happens, and all of it was amazing and unpredictable and just like a mess, but in the best way possible. There's this character called Moog, who is this like crazy wizard type character, but again, it's like an archetype, it's like a trope, but it's done so well that I don't care. Like, I don't care that it's like a cliche, even a parody of this sort of old, you know, wizard type character. It's just so well done, and it's so funny. It's just amazing. I love it. I love it so much. This author was actually inspired by Ready Player One, which if you've read it, you know that it's full of, you know, 80s pop culture references. I feel like the references in this book are a lot more subtle than Ready Player One, but you can definitely tell that he was influenced by that book. I love that book, so, you know, I'm just saying, but I know that's not for everyone, but I personally love it. And it doesn't bother me that I don't get all of the references in Ready Player One, and it didn't bother me in this either, but these are a lot more subtle, so you could totally miss them and not even realize it. Whereas I feel like for sure in Ready Player One, it's a lot more in your face, and you're often like, I don't know this, so it's weird. The references in here are sort of woven into the sort of world building, and it's less obvious, I'll say. So it's not a big deal if you don't see them. I probably missed most of them, to be honest. So yeah. I also have the companion novel to this. This is called Bloody Rose. So it's kind of a sequel, but it's more of a companion novel. You can read these two as standalone novels. But I'm sure there will be a lot of things in the second book that I will know because I've read the first one. I'm super, super excited to continue on, and I think it's going to be a trilogy. This, I know, follows sort of 80s music, or it's influenced by 80s music, not just rock music, but I think just in general. And I think the next one will then be 90s music. So I just think it's a super cool like concept and idea, and at least in the first book it's executed really, really well. So I would highly, highly recommend checking this out. And as I said, you can read this as a standalone, so you don't have that sort of overhead pressure of getting into, you know, a brand new long series, because at worst it's 3 books, at best you can just read it on its own. So yes, these are the 2 books that I really, really wanted to recommend to you guys today in this video, because I just love these books so much, and I can't wait to continue on with both of these series. So those were my spoiler-free reviews of Skyward and Kings of the Wild. Do let me know if you've read any of these and what you thought of them, or if any of them sound like something you would like to pick up. Do let me know that as well in the comment section below. And otherwise, let me know what is like a newfound favorite book of yours that you've read this year. I'm gonna go drink my tea and probably edit this video here. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time in a new video. Bye.